Built strong, built right.
Do you know how many tax resolution firms have been forced to close because they were taking advantage of people or have gone out of business? It happens all the time. Hi, this is Kerry Bryson with the Bryson Law Firm. As a matter of fact, they're national tax relief companies that are currently under court orders to cease operations. So if you have IRS issues, do not fall for the threats and scare tactics of the national so-called tax relief companies. The Bryson Law Firm has been doing this for decades. We have a AAA BBB rating, and our entire focus is IRS problems and tax liability issues. An IRS problem is a legal problem. Let the Bryson Law Firm help you get relief the right way. So if you owe back taxes or haven't filed returns in years, it's time to call the Bryson Law Firm and finally resolve your tax issues. Don't put it off any longer. Call the Bryson Law Firm. Our headquarters are in Lafayette, and we have offices statewide. Or visit BrysonLawFirm.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Bryson Law Firm, LSB filing number LA251964.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Carencro Lafayette, KLCJ FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up!
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys! Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros picked up an 8-5 Game 1 win over the Miami Marlins as Yordan Alvarez smashed 2 home runs to end the team's 4-game losing streak. The win improved Houston's record to 48-54, putting them 3.5 games behind the division-leading Seattle Mariners. Game 2 is tonight, with first pitch from Dyken Park scheduled for 7:10. You can listen to the action on News Talk at 98.5. Along with that, the Stros made multiple roster moves, including reinstating pitchers Ronel Blanco and Bennett Sousa, and optioning Reyno Delgado and Brian King to AAA. SEC Media Days Day 2 from Tampa, Florida begins today as RP3 Meche and the Lowdown with D-Lo will broadcast live from there. Today's teams that will be available at the podium and on the floor are head coaches and players from Georgia, Auburn, Vanderbilt, and South Carolina. Other big news out of college football is that Michigan Wolverines announced yesterday morning that athletic director Ward Manuel will step down at the end of the calendar year. Manuel was the program's AD since 2016 after playing his collegiate career at defensive tackle at Ann Arbor. And the Green Bay Packers extended defensive lineman Devontae Wyatt to a 3-year, $57 million contract extension that features a $20 million signing bonus. I'm James Meche, and this has been your 2-minute drill on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana sports station, your home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. Dynamic duos are nothing new to Louisiana sports fans. Breeze and Colston, Burrow and Chase. And here in Acadiana, we have our very own dynamic duo.
You're beautiful.
It's the big, bald, bearded, and beautiful one, Raymond Parch III.
I'm sexy and I know it.
And the man with the best head of hair in sports talk radio in Louisiana and Mississippi, James Meche. Here is RP3 and Meche on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Good day to you and yours, and welcome in to this Tuesday edition of RP3 and Meche. I am the big, bald, beautiful one, Raymond Parch III, better known as RP3, and we are broadcasting live from Digital Drive. It's no longer Radio Row, it's Digital Drive here inside the Marriott in downtown Tampa for SEC Media Days, Day 2. I'm here. That means our guy James Meche, the producer extraordinaire, the LAB award winner, the man with the best trash stash in sports media in the states of Louisiana, Mississippi, is back inside the BLNA Bear Studios, man in the ones and twos. Good day to you.
I'm doing just fine over here, Raymond. How about yourself? I know it's day 2 over there. I assume y'all got some sleep this time since there were no late night travels on the road and evading deer.
This is correct. We did not have to evade any threatening wildlife.
Success.
And yes, give it up for that. Give it up for that. Yes, it was very, very nice, and we were able to get a good night's rest. So that was nice. Had a little bit of a once again live radio, any type of radio row slash digital drive. If I got to make sure to get that right, digital drive. Um, been having a little issues. We lost power and internet right before we came on, but we were able to troubleshoot that. So 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 that's working for us. They're getting a workout here. The IT people here on Digital Drive have been having some issues. Let's just say that. So we got a jam-packed, great show for you once again on this day. Coming up on this Tuesday edition of RP3 and Mesh, as we're from Digital Drive, aka Radio Row, here inside the Marriott in downtown Tampa for SEC Media Days. And of course, all of our coverage is powered by Service Chevrolet Cadillac. We'll get to those great deals that they have going on. And we need to tell you about, and we will tell you about on this edition of today's show. This is what we got lined up for you. Not one, not two, not three, but we got 4 guests lined up. Dari Noka from ESPN and the SEC Network will be joining us to talk all things SEC. That's coming up in about 15 minutes or so. And we'll also be talking with Terry Ford of WNKT Radio in South Carolina. Today, the South Carolina Gamecocks will be taking the stage. Lots of talk about Shane Beamer, lots of talk about where this Gamecocks team is headed after lofty expectations last year, including having Lenore Sellers, and yet they fell short of expectations. So can't wait to talk to our old friend Terry Ford from Columbia. He's going to be joining us to cap off hour number 1. Hour number 2, we're going to be talking with Christian Griffin of the Auburn Radio Network. He'll be joining us. New man in town, right? Alex Golish. I listened to him a little bit earlier as he took the stage, as today is Georgia, Auburn, Vanderbilt, and South Carolina. Those are your 4 teams today. So we'll talk all things all things Auburn rather. And don't forget, Auburn, LSU, they get to play each other in a 11 a.m. game inside Jordan Hare this year. So that old school rivalry is going to be back on. So we're going to talk all things Auburn with Christian Griffin of the Auburn Radio Network. And then we're going to talk a broader scope of college football and the SEC with Brandon Marcello of CBS Sports. So those are the 4 guests that we got lined up for you today. We'll also play some interesting audio from Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, the man in charge of the most powerful conference in college athletics. And he had plenty of interesting things to say, so to speak, across the board about the SEC's potential of leaving the NCAA. That's a topic we have talked about on this show. I've talked about on all of my shows that I've had at Delta Media since I've been here for nearly 7 years. We'll talk. He had some interesting things to say about that, as well as about the moving to the 9-game conference schedule and the future of the conference title game. So we're going to share all of that audio with you from Greg Sankey when he addressed the media yesterday during his State of the Conference address to open up SEC Media Days. And we have a poll question of the day as well. So we got plenty to get to, but let's go ahead and get things started on this Tuesday edition of RP3 and Mesh, live from Digital Drive here inside the Marriott in downtown Tampa for SEC Media Days with today's specials.
The fellas can't help with your lunch plans, but they can serve up the top stories of the day in bite-sized pieces. Time to order up today's specials here on RP3 and Mesh, presented by Southwest Volkswagen, located at 6184 Johnston Street. Order up.
The special for today, of course, is the opening day of SEC Media Days. All the festage here in lovely Tampa. Sankey had many interesting things to say, and we'll share that audio with you. So I want to kind of save that for later on here this hour. We found out yesterday that SEC Media Days will be going back to Nashville next year in 2027, which is interesting. I thought that Houston and New Orleans would be in the mix. We've been hearing Houston and New Orleans being in the mix to host SEC Media Days now for at least 3 years. Has not happened of yet. Now, when they made this a traveling event, for years it was in Hoover and Birmingham, year after year after year. The first year I went to SEC Media Days, back in the day with the world famous CD, that was in Hoover. That was 19. Now, of course, the year that LSU went on to win the national championship was also the year that Kellen Mond announced at SEC Media Days that he was the best quarterback in the conference, and that proved not to be true. By the way, it proved
Oh,
not to
how
be true.
things sour so quick.
Um, oh, you see, real quick. I remember when he said it, and I was like, "Ooh, Jimbo, why'd you let your boy do that?" But you know, that year it was there in Hoover and in in the Hoover Birmingham area. And of course, the SEC headquarters are in Birmingham and everything like that. So to do that, you know, they had it there, and it's a little bit of its charm. It had everything that it had going for it. You'd have people dress up like Bear Bryant. You'd have people spray paint their poodles in Auburn colors. You would have the random folks that were inside the Galleria Mall, which was like 2 or 3 stories, that were just walking around the mall, getting their steps in, and all of a sudden they appear and they look up at me. I can't tell you how many times that first year people asked me, "What are you doing? Why are you here?" They had no idea, right? But it had its charm. You had all the people that would be behind the velvet rope, so to speak, down at the end of the escalators, because you would have the main media area on the second floor, and all the coaches and players would come down the escalators, and people would be there. Fans would be there. Alabama fans, Florida fans, LSU fans, everything like that, to get autographs and get pictures and everything like that. Well, once they decided to kind of expand it and they started picking up on the NFL's approach, right? Hey, we're going to take the draft out of Radio City Music Hall and we're going to bring it to city to city to city and make it a bigger event. Well, that's what they did. And at first it was Atlanta, and then it was Atlanta again, right? And then, the year after we went, of course, the pandemic hit and they canceled it. It was supposed to be in Atlanta that year. In 21, they had it back in Hoover because it was only going to be half capacity. We didn't even get credentialed that year because of that. But then in 22, okay, in 22 they had it, and in 22 it was inside the College Football Hall of Fame. We were there for all 4 days, broadcasting and amongst the artifacts, right? The exhibits, if you will. And that was really cool. A little cumbersome to get in and out because literally your table was positioned next to, a glassed in exhibit of, memorabilia. But very cool atmosphere. And it made a lot of sense because the College Football Hall of Fame had moved down. It's a state of the art facility and museum, right there in SEC country in Atlanta. It makes a lot of sense to have it in Atlanta. And then they were like, let's go bigger. And this has grown, and it goes to Nashville in 23. 24, it was in Dallas. That was the year that Texas and Oklahoma got put into the conference. So it was like kind of a nice thing of welcoming them into the conference. Obviously, Dallas is a huge recruiting area for both Oklahoma and for Texas. So you have it there. And then last year they went back to Atlanta, but we've been hearing about, hey, New Orleans, hey, Houston. Makes a lot of sense. They're in the footprint, right? Huge cities, huge places that you can host it. Little disappointed, Look, I love Nashville. Been to Nashville numerous times, James, but I kind of thought maybe this would be the year that they would make some sort of announcement, like, "Hey, we're going to be in Houston," or "Hey, Houston checks off the boxes for like A&M and LSU, right? That's a big recruiting area for them. It's a huge city. Our friends in the Southland Conference are having their media day there today, over there at the Galleria. So Houston makes a lot of sense, and I thought New Orleans makes a ton of sense, right? And who wouldn't want to come to New Orleans? But we're going back to Nashville next year, and I'm a little surprised. I thought New Orleans and Houston would be in the mix, but now we're going back to sites that we've already been. They went to Atlanta last year. Next year we're going to Nashville, so it's just interesting.
Yeah, it would be nice if they would do one of the other places like Houston or New Orleans. It definitely would be a little bit more optimal for us as well. But I do wonder,
A little bit, a little bit,
yeah,
a
just
little
a little bit. But I do wonder, is it just going to be a 3-site location at this point between, say, Knoxville,
bit. You mean
Tampa?
Nashville?
Yeah,
Nashville.
Nashville. I said Knoxville. Nashville, Atlanta, and Tampa, or maybe switch out Tampa for Dallas. Like, is it just going to be like a 3-site location where it's just in rotation every year?
It kind of feels that way, that like we're getting into this rotational kind of vibe. Tampa's been great. That we've been here now a couple of days, and they're hosting with the exception of some power issues here on Digital Drive / Radio Row. It's been good. They've been accommodating and
Hmm.
very nice hotel, and Tampa's very nice. And we had a great time at the media soiree last night right there on the bay. And there was a fireworks show, by the way, James. I know how much you love fireworks. Um,
It's amazing
so
stuff.
I think they do a nice job, but it's just Atlanta makes a lot of sense because of the College Football Hall of Fame. Going
Hmm.
back to Nashville though, I'll go okay. Like it was a while. We had a great time there a couple years ago, and they obviously have the infrastructure there and everything like that. It's just interesting that I thought maybe they would be wanting to go to more new places before getting into a rotational situation. Does that make sense? Like I thought
Yeah.
that would be the approach. Hey, let's go to Houston, let's go to New Orleans, and then we've gone to we expanded the footprint with media days, and now we're going to start doing a rotation. That's not the decision. So, and we're going to be looking to talk. Our guy BP is working diligently with Commissioner Greg Sankey's team to book an interview,
Mm.
so I can ask him about that and about that process. So, working on that yesterday. Besides that news, and we're going to share a lot of Sankey's comments because I want the listeners to be able to hear it, and then we can react to it. Um, it was not a bad start, lots of buzz about Tennessee and Josh Heupel being, under some pressure, which I found interesting. We're going to ask some of our guests about that. I was like, the guy made to the playoffs 2 years ago, and they won 8 games a year ago. Is there really pressure for Josh Heupel to win? Do they remember what Tennessee looked like before he got there? I'm just saying. But it was a good strong start. Sankey had Tennessee. Yesterday, Oklahoma started off things. So it was a good start to the week. Obviously, it's just going to get ramped up. Like we said, we had some big dogs today. You got Kirby Smart, Georgia. They've already been on the stage with their players. They've already gone through Radio Row. Alex Golish just wrapped up speaking on stage right now. That's the new Auburn coach from South Florida, and his players will be bopping around. And then there'll be Vandy in South Carolina this afternoon. And then tomorrow is a monster day. Alabama, Florida. It's going to be Texas A&M. I think is tomorrow as well. So kind of a monster day. It's going to keep ramping up because then Thursday is LSU and Texas on the same day. So yeah, great start so far for SEC Media Days. Tampa's done a tremendous job so far. Yes, tomorrow's lineup is Alabama, Florida, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M. Whoa, like
That's a big day.
those are four mark. Yeah, that's going to be the day. What it would used to be back in the day. Real quick, James, because I know we're up against it. But back in the day when Saban was still there at Alabama, I was warned my first year in Hoover. They're like, look, Wednesday's going to be your toughest day. You're going to be exhausted and then in the afternoon, once Alabama leaves SEC Media Days on Wednesday, you're going to feel it. Like you're going to be drained, nothing in it, and there's going to be a lack of energy that afternoon, and it carries over until Thursday. Now, thankfully, what they've done is that they've shuffled up the schedule here, and we got heavy hitters going on not only on Wednesday, but we also have heavy hitters that people want to hear from on Thursday. So the excitement level isn't going to drop off, so to speak, because of that, which I think is a wise decision on their part to make the change this year, have LSU and Texas go on Thursday, and it gives an excuse for everyone to stick around and keeps the energy level up, right? It's not going to crater like it used to on Wednesday afternoon. All right, buddy, let's go ahead and unveil that poll question of the day. Of course, all of our poll questions of the day this week are going to be SEC Media Days, SEC related, because, of course, we're here in Tampa all week. So go ahead and unveil that for us, bud.
Absolutely. Since teams are always bound to fall short of expectations, especially right before the season, which SEC team do you think has the best chance to fall short of those expectations? Of course, you could choose any one of the 16 teams out there in the conference where it just means more, but we were limited to 4 options, so we specifically put out there on Facebook and on X, LSU, Texas A&M, Georgia, and also Texas. Now, looking at the votes so far, Texas has led the whole way through. It's currently at 36% of the votes. LSU and A&M are bringing up the rear, or right behind, at about 28, 29% apiece. Georgia didn't have any votes for the majority of the morning, but now at this point, it's got about 1 or 2 votes. It's in at 7%.
You know, it's interesting, and I just cast my vote, and I voted for A&M. And I have thoughts real quick on all four, because I think all four could fall short of expectations. There's not, right now as it stands in preseason, there's not a team that I go, they're perfect. They're going to be dominant. They all have flaws. LSU, the big question mark is this all going to mesh together? And can Lane Kiffin handle the pressure of being the LSU head football coach? Is Sam Leavitt's, is he going to be healthy enough to be the quarterback they need him to be? And are all these pieces out of the transfer portal and their $40 million roster, or is it all going to come together? Because that schedule is brutal, right? They could go 9-3, and for most teams, that would be a remarkable year, and they would miss the playoff, and it would be considered a disappointment for Lane Train. A&M, they got the quarterback back, they got wide receivers back, they got DBs back, they got a lot of guys back, got a lot of skill position guys back, which is great. The problem is they have barely any starters at all back on the line of scrimmage. To win in the SEC, you got to have really good players across the line of scrimmage. A&M has unproven guys across the line of scrimmage. What is that going to do? That's my big question mark there. They could fall short of expectations. Texas, you got Arch. Looked like the light bulb went off last year. But you're breaking in a lot of new playmakers. Okay, a lot of new playmakers. He has guys coming back on defense. He has guys coming back on offense. That's great. But once again, can they handle the pressure that they're going to need to handle to be able to step up and do everything, especially with all new playmakers on the outside in particular, breaking in a lot of new guys at the wide receiver position. And then Georgia, is the offense going to be good enough? Like, defensively, you feel like they're always going to be good. Defensively, you feel like they're going to be legit. But can they be able to handle that, because they've fallen short making it to the playoff because the offense hasn't been dynamic enough? What about the outside playmakers, everything like that? So those are my thoughts there. Keep voting on our poll question of the day. Keep leaving your comments on Facebook, on X, and on our YouTube channel on ESPN Southwest Louisiana, which, of course, you can watch our shows here from Tampa there as well. So that would be amazing. So keep commenting, keep voting, and keep commenting. We got to take a time out. When we come back here, how about our first guest today from ESPN and the SEC Network? Dari Nowkhah will be joining us, talking all things SEC. That's next.
Today's specials here on RP3 and Meche, presented by Southwest Volkswagen, located at 6184 Johnston Street.
Now is a great time to save at Southwest Volkswagen as summer is getting hot. Get the 2026 Volkswagen Atlas for only 0.9 APR for 48 months, or take advantage of $3,500 in customer bonus cash. The Volkswagen Atlas with third-row seating, amazing technology, and one of the most comfortable drives you'll experience. Don't wait. Get down to Southwest Volkswagen today, located at 6184 Johnston Street in Lafayette, or you can give them a call, 337-895-0110 for more details.
From Tiger Stadium to the Texas state line, ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is your home for live and local sports talk in Southwest Louisiana. We're your official home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles also tackles the latest involving the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns, McNeese Cowboys, and New Orleans Saints. So keep it locked right here. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
The best businesses aren't just businesses, they're neighbors. Here's a message from a proud certified South Louisiana business.
Bro Bridge Truck Stop Casino. They have the newest games around. Hot seat drawings and monthly specials like no one else. Located on the Bro Bridge Highway and on the banks of the Vermilion River. Come out today and try your luck at the Bro Bridge Truck Stop Casino.
When you support local businesses, you strengthen the communities we call home. Shop local, support local, certified South Louisiana.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. Just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3-gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler, or even single-serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then Contact Us tab, or 337-519-3563.
MeTV is America's #1 classic entertainment television network. And here's one of the reasons everybody loves MeTV.
Oh, it's a classic.
The great comedy lineup on weeknights.
This will be fun. Come on.
With Meche.
Loaded with snappy comebacks.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I was just funning with Barney.
And Everybody Loves Raymond.
Now we got a show.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices. To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
School sports are played by humans, coached by humans, and officiated by humans. So the next time you're sitting in the stands at a school athletic event, please remember this and maintain your humanity, especially when it comes to judging and critiquing athletes, coaches, and officials. Please show your fellow humans some respect. They'll appreciate your empathy.
This message presented by the LHSAA and the Louisiana High School Athletic Directors Association.
It's the conference where everything just means more, including talking season. Everybody! Back to more SEC Media Days from Tampa coverage on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station, and powered by Service Chevrolet Cadillac.
Welcome back into RP3 and Meche as we're broadcasting from Radio Row here in Tampa for SEC Media Days. And we're going to be talking about all things SEC with our friend from ESPN and the SEC Network, Dari Noka, joins us now. Dari, good day to you, brother. How's it feel to be back in full talking season?
Yeah, man, it's good, honestly, man. Enough, stuff about Congress and NIL and all that stuff. It's just, this is a great time every year because you can actually start picturing what a football team going against another football team might look like. You start talking quarterbacks, and you start talking coaching changes, and you start talking expectations. Now, we need this. It never gets here fast enough, honestly.
I want to talk a little bit about the two teams that everyone feels are on the top of the mountain, and that's Texas and Georgia to start off the year. Are you confident that those are the two teams that are going to end up in Atlanta? And if not, what are some of their flaws, maybe, so to speak, that may give you pause before kind of jumping on that and going, hey, the book it for Atlanta?
I don't know that I would book either of those. I do think certainly those are two of several teams that could end up there. And I wouldn't even necessarily go flaws. I think that when we continue to hear that it's just these two teams, I think we're ignoring too many other good teams. I think Ole Miss is interesting. I think Oklahoma is going to be really, really good this year. I think LSU has the potential to be really good. We keep saying, and I'm with you. I keep hearing it. Georgia and Texas, and Georgia and Texas. Look, Texas is a team that has underachieved a little bit too much. Last year, their offensive line let them down. I know they hope that that's better. There's a lot of pressure on Arch Manning, too. I know the Cam Coleman edition excites everybody, but look, I just think when you get into this grind of this season and this schedule, teams are going to get got. And the difference between Georgia and everybody else, that gap has closed. Texas is in it. Oklahoma's in it. Ole Miss is in it. Again, LSU is in it. I think Florida's a team that could be really, really interesting. Maybe not Atlanta bound, but I think when we continue to say it's just these two teams and we hear it over and over, I just think we're doing a bit of a disservice to a lot of other really high-quality teams.
Would one of those other high-quality teams be the Texas A&M Aggies?
I think they're interesting. Marcel Reed's got to not, turn it over as much, but when you're looking at, defensive line, they took some hits. Offensive line is inexperienced. That's a problem in this league. So I don't necessarily think A&M's one of those type teams that could. Now, they may surprise. There's no question that they've got enough talent via recruiting in the portal to fill some gaps in there. But when the unknowns are on the line of scrimmage in the SEC, that typically does not work in a team's favor.
It's a great point.
And another team that I think that I'm starting to hear a lot of buzz about, a lot of chatter, is Oklahoma. They're coming off the playoff appearance. Mateer is healthy. He was a different quarterback after the injury last year, right? I think that was safe to say. But if they're healthy with a defensive-minded coach, it feels like it could be some big momentum for the Sooners.
Yeah, defensively, they'll be a top 5 in the country defense. That's not going to change. Offensively is, I think, where they're expecting to be a lot better. 4 starters back on the offensive line from a group that got better over the course of the year, and then you add one piece through the portal, Amarian Harris from Arkansas, that started 2 years in the SEC. They've addressed needs on the outside with Parker Livingston from Texas, which is crossing the Red River. Virginia's leading receiver last year is there, Trell Harris. They've remade their tight end room entirely with Hayden Hansen from Florida at 6'7", coming in and being the number 1 guy there. If they can run the ball, and they think they can this year, if that offense is even 40% better than it was, that's a team that should be in the playoff again and may make their way to Atlanta. Yeah, they'll be a lot better on offense.
Is Alabama the team that has the most question marks for you?
That's a great question. No, Alabama has them. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And we'll still wait and see how the quarterback situation settles itself out. But their faith in Kalen DeBoer was evident with a contract extension. At least they're trying to get people to stop talking about him being on any sort of a hot seat. But no, I think there are plenty of teams around the league that certainly have questions. I think LSU's a team that's got questions as well. I find it fascinating, frankly, that Sam Leavitt isn't here. I would love to be able to talk to him a little bit, but Lane Kiffin, everywhere he goes, there's going to be eyeballs closely affixed to him. So I think that's a team with questions. But Alabama certainly has their share.
Of the slew of new coaches we have in the SEC, from Alec Golish going from South Florida to Auburn, John Summerall, previously of Troy, then Tulane going to Florida. We have numerous new coaches, Kentucky, Arkansas as well. Who fascinates you the most?
So I hear a lot about John Summerall, and you see his intensity and his energy, and if they can figure out the quarterback situation, they've got a lot of talent on offense. But I can't wait to see Kentucky's offense. That may not be an exciting answer, but for so many years, Mark Stoops did such a great job. But it was, as we were talking earlier today, kind of drag you into the mud. Yes, Tim. Drag you into the mud with them. Make you play an ugly style of ball. And Will Stein's like, nah, man, I had Dante Moore, and I've had these great players at Oregon, and we're going to air it out. And I am curious to see how Will Stein's offensive approach translates quickly into the SEC. So he fascinates me as much as anybody does.
He is fascinating on what his approach is going to be there, and going to be more of an offensive-minded football team, unlike what they've done in years past. I want to ask you about your thoughts on the Ole Miss Rebels. Being in Louisiana, broadcasting in Louisiana, I think a lot of the fans are hoping Ole Miss isn't very good, right? They're wanting to that because of now the renewed rivalry between the Tigers and the Rebels. But they bring back Chambliss, they bring back Lacey, they bring back a lot of guys. And I think Pete Golding showed folks that he can be a competent head football coach. What's your expectations for the Rebels?
I think they're high. I mean, I think it's a team that should absolutely be competing in Atlanta. I know they suffered some losses, and I think defensively might be where they're a little bit more concerned than offensively. But when you've got Trinidad Chambliss and Kejuan Lacey, you've got as good a start as there is in this league. I think Chambliss is the best quarterback in the league, barring injury. I think offensively they're going to be absolutely scary. And I'm going to trust Pete Golding to do what he's always done, and that is generate a defense that is a top third or fourth of this league defense that can win a lot of football games. I have really high expectations for Ole Miss.
Are the Missouri Tigers a team we're not talking enough about?
Interesting. We'll watch the status of Ahmad Hardy. Sounds like he'll be good to go at least early in the season, if not right off the top of the season, at least early in the season. We know they're going to be able to run the ball. Talked to Eli Drinkwitz quite a bit today, and he was at the podium as well. Really high on a lot of the guys on that defense. I don't feel like we ever talk about them, but they always go out and win between 8 and 10 games, and I don't know why we wouldn't expect the same thing.
It feels like, and he feels like he's really got it running there in Missouri as well. He's done a very nice job. I want to ask you about the team that we carry on our airwaves, of course, the LSU Tigers. Expectations are through the roof. Roster north of $40 million. You got Lane Train, everything involved. And I'm going to ask you the same question I've asked everyone. What should the expectation be in year one
What should it be? Playoff. No question about it. Competing for a spot in Atlanta, going to the college football playoff, and maybe winning a game. That's what Lane demands. I mean, that's what hiring Lane demands. If you went through everything you went through as an athletic department and an administration to bring him in, pay the Brian Kelly buyout, anything less than a playoff spot to me is a complete and utter disappointment and a waste of resources if you're LSU.
What's your biggest question mark about LSU?
Can they handle the pressure? There's an immense amount of pressure, and I think if they can handle it, great. They're going to play in road games, challenging road games with environments that it's good. There's going to be LSU has become the evil empire in the SEC. To every other program, LSU is now what the Yankees were. It was the Dallas Cowboys to the haters there. It's the Patriots. That's who they are now, and they're going to face a lot of scrutiny, a lot of wrath. In uncomfortable environments on the road. Can they handle it and not crumble as a unit under Lane Kiffin? If they can do that, sky's the limit. If they can't do that, it could get ugly quickly.
Dari, always appreciate your time, man. Have a blast this upcoming college football season. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
This is RP3 and Meche live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Delta Media Corps is helping your kids head back to school in style, powered by Cosmetology Training Center. This school year, we want to ease the pain in the pocketbooks for parents by giving them free haircuts this Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is for kids ages 5 to 12 only. A parent or guardian must be present and sign a waiver for the free haircut. So join us at Cosmetology Training Center at 5520 Johnson Street tomorrow for a free back-to-school haircut for your kids.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we got to go fast now.
The Houston Astros picked up an 8-5 Game 1 win over the Miami Marlins as Yordan Alvarez smashed 2 home runs to end the team's 4-game losing streak. The win improved Houston's record to 48-54, putting them 3.5 games behind the division-leading Seattle Mariners. Game 2 is tonight, with first pitch from Dyken Park scheduled for 7:10. You can listen to the action on News Talk at 98.5. Along with that, the Stros made multiple roster moves, including reinstating pitchers Ronel Blanco and Bennett Sousa, and optioning Reyno Delgado and Brian King to AAA. SEC Media Days Day 2 from Tampa, Florida begins today as RP3 Meche and the Lowdown with D-Lo will broadcast live from there. Today's teams that will be available at the podium and on the floor are head coaches and players from Georgia, Auburn, Vanderbilt, and South Carolina. Other big news out of college football is that Michigan Wolverines announced yesterday morning that athletic director Ward Manuel will step down at the end of the calendar year. Manuel was the program's AD since 2016 after playing his collegiate career at defensive tackle at Ann Arbor. And the Green Bay Packers extended defensive lineman Devontae Wyatt to a 3-year, $57 million contract extension that features a $20 million signing bonus. I'm James Meche, and this has been your 2-minute drill on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana sports station, your home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Get ready for one of South Louisiana's favorite summer traditions. The 17th annual STM Fishing Rodeo is July 31st and August 1st at Quintana Landing in Sycamore Point. Whether you're chasing the winning catch or just looking for a great weekend on the water, enjoy great fishing, exciting prizes, delicious food, and a fun atmosphere, all while supporting St. Thomas More Catholic High School. Register by July 24th at noon to guarantee your official event t-shirt. Register today at stmcougars.net/fishing.
Your Honor, I would like to introduce exhibit number 1.
MeTV is America's #1 classic television network.
There can only be one number 1, me.
MeTV features over 60 of the greatest classic TV series each week.
Go with the winner.
Enjoy dramas, comedies, westerns, sci-fi, and more.
You just watch me.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices. To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
If you're trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 800-961-2730. 800-961-2730. That's 800-961-2730.
Want to get caught up on everything that happened today at the circus that is SEC Media Days in Tampa? Yeah. Not to worry. We've got you covered. Back to more SEC football talk on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station. And powered by Service Chevrolet Cadillac.
That a 9-game Southeastern Conference football schedule, coupled with our expectation that we maintain a high-quality non-conference opponent, creates one of the most, in fact, I'm going to scratch what I wrote, it creates, without question, the most demanding sets of football schedules in all of college football. But these decisions were made after years of thoughtful discussion, careful analysis, and spirited debate, which led us to the conclusion that the 9-game schedule was appropriate. And the 9-game schedule reflects confidence in our universities, our student athletes, and in our football programs. It preserves great rivalries, historic rivalries, many of which are played every year. It creates more compelling conference matchups and reinforces our long-standing commitment to competitive excellence. When you look at our schedule, no one has created the kind of weekly competition that exists in the Southeastern Conference.
Commissioner Greg Sankey talking about the decision to move to 9 conference games. And look, we can have a debate about who is the best conference in college football. You could make the argument that the SEC has better teams from, say, like the top team down through 6 or 7, right? Even 8. Like the top 8 teams in the SEC are probably better than the top 8 teams in any other conference. The difference of late, in the last 3 years in particular, has been that the top of the top in the Big Ten has been better than the top of the SEC. We've had Georgia flame out, typically in the Sugar Bowl twice during this run, right? We've had Texas lose in the playoff. So we had Oklahoma lose to Alabama, and then Bama got skull-drugged by Indiana last year. So probably top to bottom, definitely top 8, maybe even top 10. No question the SEC is still the best conference in college football. But the top of the top, it's a level playing field now, right? The top 3, top 4 teams, and those, particularly in the Big Ten, match up toe to toe. So I think that's the difference here. But obviously, going to 9 conference games is what we've seen in the future. They're going to keep pushing the expansion of the college football playoff. So by doing that, the SEC needed to be at that 9-game threshold. That's going to reduce the amount of games they do with other conferences. And they'll probably move to a format where it's 9 conference games. You'll do one of these like kickoff games or non-conference games with one of the other big boy conferences, like LSU's doing this year with Clemson, right? And that's a back-to-back, and they recently done it with Florida State. You see Alabama, Ohio State, they've agreed to do a home and away. Auburn's playing Baylor in the Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic in Atlanta inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So you're probably going to have 9 conference games, one of those other marquee games, and then one game or two, against lesser competition. We've already seen LSU, for example, agree to contracts to be playing like ULM. It's ULM at Northwestern State, I think, right? Tulane in the next couple years. Those are going to be week 0 games, nonetheless. So seeing LSU play at the end of August instead of the beginning of September is going to be interesting. But that's the move. It's the right move for the conference, especially moving forward. Now, part of that move is because of the College Football Playoff Committee letting them know and letting everyone know the importance of having a 9-game conference schedule.
As it relates to the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, we have heard about strength of schedule, strength of record. I think there were some references for strength of conference. We had what I'll call an unsatisfactory conversation with members of the College Football Playoff staff and some of their advisors in Destin. That's rehashing from a couple months ago. That's not a secret. And that's a reminder of that process needing to continually improve. So my confidence is that people will act with integrity. I do think we have questions about the understanding of the strength and rigor associated with competing in the Southeastern Conference.
So, yeah, I mean, look, this is going to be the thing moving forward here. Now, with the expansion, with adding 9 conference games, and we know the playoff expansion is coming, everyone's clamoring for it because the money's there and everything like that. What's the future of conference championships? The SEC was the first conference to play a championship game back in the day, and it was revolutionary, and they got mocked, and people were frightened about having a conference championship game. You're going to kill your chances of winning a national championship. Well, it ended up being the exact opposite. But has the conference championship game, which has been in vogue, in particular with the SEC since the early 1990s, is it now no longer needed? It sure does feel that way. This is what Sankey had to say about the future of conference championship games.
I think even the move to 12 has created pressure around championship games. And we've talked through the factors that support the pro list, and we've talked about some of the con list, if you will, the negatives that need to be considered. And we have some time. We will have a conference championship game the first Saturday in December of 2026. We have contracts and plans in place well beyond that, but we have time for consideration. And one of the factors for us is what will happen with that college football playoff.
Commissioner Greg Sankey, during his address of the conference to kick off SEC Media Days yesterday. There's something else that I want to get to, but I want to save that for hour number 2, and that's been the buzz about Media Days so far, about leaving the NCAA, something I've been talking about for years, that's what they're going to eventually do. Sankey even talked about it, and Kirby Smart talked about it this morning. So we'll dive into that in hour number 2. But we got to take a timeout. When we come back, we're going to wrap up hour number 1, talking with our friend, Mr. Terry Ford from WNKT Radio there in Columbia, South Carolina. The Gamecocks are up and about around today. We're going to talk about Shane Beamer and everything going on with that program heading into the 2026 season. That's next.
This is RP3 and Meche live on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Attention first responders, police officers, firefighters, military and former military personnel. If you have an acre or more of grass to cut, Skag Zero-Turn Mowers would like to thank you by offering you a special discount with their Simply the Brave First Responders program. Save big money on the industry's top-rated zero-turn mower at Nolan's Lawnmower in Carencro. Nolan's can offer well-qualified buyers 0% financing for 48 months. Come by Nolan's Lawnmower at 3547 Northwest Evangeline Thruway and check out the full line of Skag Zero-Turn Lawnmowers.
Summer just got tastier at Mama's Fried Chicken. For a limited time, enjoy our 2-piece dark dinner for only $4.99. Or feed the family with our 8-piece dark chicken, only $7.49. Hot, fresh, and made the way you love it since 1977. With over 20 homemade items, Mama's is sure to please. Stop by our new convenient location in New Iberia and our 2 locations in Opelousas. Don't miss these sizzling summer deals, only at Mama's Fried Chicken. Mama's Fried Chicken, Mama loves you.
Looking for a spotless workplace? Variety Janitorial Services is your go-to. For office cleaning to stripping and floor waxing and carpet cleaning, your commercial space will look its best. Their reputation for perfection has grown throughout the entire Acadiana community. They deliver top-notch service with a commitment to excellence. Daily, weekly, or deep cleaning, trust the experts. Visit varietyjan.com today or call 337-298-8704 for a free quote. Variety Janitorial Services. We clean, you shine.
Are your pipes giving you problems? Is that leaky faucet driving you crazy? Don't wait for a plumbing disaster. Call the experts at Ace Plumbing, your trusted local plumbers for over 30 years. At Ace Plumbing, we do it all. Clogged drains, water heater repairs, pipe replacements, and more. With decades of experience, we deliver fast, reliable, and affordable solutions for your home or business.
Ace Plumbing fixed my burst pipe in no time, and the price was great. They're the only plumbers I trust.
From small leaks to big emergencies, Ace Plumbing is just one call away. We're available 24/7 because plumbing problems don't wait. Call Ace Plumbing today at 337-565-2519 or visit us online at aceplumbinginc.com. That's 337-565-2519.
Ace Plumbing, your personal plumber. Let us give you a hand.
It's the conference where everything just means more, including talking season. Everybody! Back to more SEC Media Days from Tampa coverage on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station, and powered by Service Chevrolet Cadillac.
And, of course, all of our great coverage here in Tampa is powered by our friends at Service Chevrolet Cadillac. And, look, every new Chevrolet from Service Chevrolet Cadillac comes with a lifetime limited powertrain warranty. And just announced you can get 0% financing for 5 years. 0% financing for 5 years and make no payments until after Labor Day on a 2026 Trax and a 2026 Equinox. And guess what? 0% APR for 60 months on the 2026 Silverado 1500. So go see our friends over at Service Chevrolet Cadillac today and get yourself a great deal on a new car, SUV, or pickup truck. We're going to close out hour number 1 here of our coverage with Mr. Terry Ford of WNKT Radio in Columbia, South Carolina. Terry, good day, brother. How are you?
How you doing, man? You good?
We're good, man. We're surviving. It was a little treacherous getting here, driving in the middle of the night, but we got here the other day, brother.
The story's great. You got a great story that you live to tell about it.
Yes, we live to tell the tale.
Lucky you got Vin Diesel driving.
I do. Yes, our buddy Dawson Eisler. So let's dive right in. Shane Beamer, all the national people, all the people here, says he's on the hot seat of all hot seats. You know, I thought they made great strides 2 years ago. Last year, fall back 4-8, 1-7 in the conference. Offensive line was dreadful. Gave up 43 sacks. They fired their OC, Mike Shula. They bring in Kendall Briles. Is there legitimate pressure on him this year to have a winning record?
Yeah, I mean, there's a new AD. Came in about a year and a half ago, Jeremiah Donati from TCU. I mean, Ray Tanner was there forever. Remember, he's a legendary baseball coach, was the athletic director over a decade. If Ray Tanner was still there, I'd say, well, but no. You've got a new sheriff in town who's given the football program a ton of money, including hiring Kendall Briles for about $2 million plus a year to be the OC. You spend a lot of money in the portal, not only to bring in guys. Dylan Stewart is not a South Carolina guy. He's from the DMV. There's a lot of people who love to have Dylan Stewart coming off the edge for them at like places like Columbus, Ohio, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I'm sure Texas would like to pair him with a Colin Simmons. So they had to pay a lot of money to keep their guys like a Stewart and a Harbor and a Sellers. A lot of money's been spent on this program. Shane Beamer's got to win at least 7 games. That's where I feel.
How much different is this offense going to look with Kendall Briles and orchestrating the offense and the play calling.
We got Caleb Gorson last year. I think it was a mess. You saw it. You saw it in the game in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
It was bad. Kendall Browse will be a huge upgrade over Mike Shula. God love him. He was just in over his head from the beginning. And, I mean, I got why you hired Shula. He was the quarterback coach for Lenoris. Dow Loggins leaves to take the Appalachian State head coaching gig. Elevate the quarterback coach. He's been an offensive coordinator in the NFL, all that stuff. Raymond, you know this. Just pro guys don't translate sometimes to college. College guys don't translate to the NFL. Mike Shula just was a disaster. And now you brought in a real college OC with a resume. And we look back on that year at Arkansas when they had KJ Jefferson, Rocket Sanders, and you had a first-round pick at wide receiver. We look at that year because Lenore, Sellers, and Jefferson are kind of the same, even though Sellers has more talent. And we think that's the kind of offense you're going to see, which, by the way, was explosive at Arkansas. So we're hoping with those kind of pieces that you have at South Carolina with a quarterback like that, Kendall Browse will elevate this offense, and they'll actually be dangerous.
Lenore Sellers just burst onto the scene 2 years ago. Freshman All-American honors, All-SEC honors. Football Writers Association of America named him the Freshman of the Year. Sensational dual-threat quarterback, can do it all for you. Banged up last year. That offensive line, as we talked about, was dreadful. What does he need to improve on, though, overall, as a quarterback to bounce back and have the season that we saw him have 2 years ago?
There's a couple things. One, the offensive line actually block somebody this year. It'd be a good idea, Ram. Block somebody.
That would be helpful. That would be helpful. Usually.
The offensive line is just okay, solid. You don't have to be Joe Moore Award winners, but just hold their own at the line of scrimmage. Obviously, that's the most important thing. The other thing is last year, again, Mike Shula was an NFL guy. There was so much talk of Lenoris going through progressions. Go through option 1, option 2, option 3 in the passing game. Well, Lenoris Sellers did so well in 2024, that second half of the year when they went on that heater and won 6 in a row. What he did, and you saw in the LSU game before he got hurt, he's just playing instinctive, man.
Yeah.
You're a dual threat quarterback.
You're just playing backyard ball.
Ready? What's the line from Bull Durham? Don't think meat, just throw.
Yeah, just throw.
Don't think Lenoris. Just play the position instinctively. I think that's what they're going to do this year. Because again, Kendall Browse, he's had quarterbacks like this. He's going to put Lenoris Sellers in the position to succeed, where Lenoris is just playing. And I think that's what they have to get back to do. Let him play. Is there going to be times he's going to miss an open receiver because he takes off for 12 yards? Of course he is. I'll give you a quick one. The Clemson run from 2 years ago, that famous run he had to beat Clemson on they called it the 4th and Sellers, 3rd and Sellers, whatever, where he took off and ran for a touchdown. He had a receiver wide open in the end zone and missed him. But you know what he did? Ran for a touchdown.
Made up for it.
So that's what you're looking for, a guy who's going to play instinctive. And that's what they have to get back to him doing, just playing by feel and by instinct and not overthinking the run.
Yeah, you mentioned Mike Shula. Alabama football fans remember him as a head coach. So I don't think it was NFL. It's college as well. I think it's across the board.
True.
It's across the board. Trust me. I watched enough Crimson Tide football.
I forgot. You forget that was so long ago. You forget he was the guy before Nick. You forget about it.
He was the guy before Nick. He was. We get you out here with this, brother. Obviously a lot of talk about Briles, the offense. Of course, Lenore Sellers, the dynamic athlete. What's an under-the-radar thing that we're not talking about that's going to be key to South Carolina being able to turn this around in 2026?
Getting back to rushing the passer like they did 2 years ago. Kyle Kennard obviously had a fantastic year. Dylan Stewart just blew up on the scene as a freshman. Getting heat on quarterbacks, forcing turnovers, getting explosive plays on defense. We talk so much about the offense. The defense last year was solid, but it did take us a little bit of a step back because it wasn't making game-changing plays and wasn't getting big stops. Whether it's Texas A&M in the second half, Alabama in the fourth quarter, they just didn't get the big stops to help win games. And I think if the defense can get back to wreaking havoc, rushing the passer, that only makes things better for everybody.
Terry, I appreciate you taking a couple of minutes, man.
Brother, always good seeing you. It's like our reunion every year, man.
It is. It is.
We're good.
Terry Ford of WNKT Radio in Columbia, South Carolina, talking all things Gamecocks. We got to take a time out. Hour 1 is in the books. Hour number 2 coming up.
Before hitting the road, get hooked up at Match Trailers on Bertrand Drive. Everything you need from truck equipment, accessories, and trailer parts, Match Trailers has it. Match Trailers, 1849 Bertrand Drive in Lafayette, or give Matt a call at 235-7534.
Looking for your next firearm? Come visit Louisiana Gun Shop in Broussard. We've got financing options, 12 months same as cash, plus layaways up to 90 days. With a wide selection of new and used guns, we've got something for every budget, big or small. Have an old gun collecting dust? Trade it in or turn it into cash. Need parts? We've got the largest selection of AR-15 components in the area, from springs to grips and buttstocks. Explore our ever-changing used inventory online at LouisianaGunShop.com. Louisiana Gun Shop, your one-stop shop for firearms and more.
Do you know how many tax resolution firms have been forced to close because they were taking advantage of people or have gone out of business? It happens all the time. Hi, this is Kerry Bryson with the Bryson Law Firm. As a matter of fact, they're national tax relief companies that are currently under court orders to cease operations. So if you have IRS issues, do not fall for the threats and scare tactics of the national so-called tax relief companies. The Bryson Law Firm has been doing this for decades. We have a AAA BBB rating, and our entire focus is IRS problems and tax liability issues. An IRS problem is a legal problem. Let the Bryson Law Firm help you get relief the right way. So if you owe back taxes or haven't filed returns in years, it's time to call the Bryson Law Firm and finally resolve your tax issues. Don't put it off any longer. Call the Bryson Law Firm. Our headquarters are in Lafayette, and we have offices statewide. Or visit BrysonLawFirm.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm. The Bryson Law Firm. LSB filing number LA2519684.
Delta Home Center and Delta Trailer Sales, your one-stop shop for utility and cargo trailers, heavy-duty dump and gooseneck trailers, portable buildings, cabins, decks, porches, fences, carports, and site-built metal shops. Located at Exit 7 in Carencro or at deltatrailersales.com.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Carencro Lafayette, KLCJ-FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta media station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros picked up an 8-5 Game 1 win over the Miami Marlins as Yordan Alvarez smashed 2 home runs to end the team's 4-game losing streak. The win improved Houston's record to 48-54, putting them 3.5 games behind the division-leading Seattle Mariners. Game 2 is tonight, with first pitch from Dyken Park scheduled for 7:10. You can listen to the action on News Talk at 98.5. Along with that, the Stros made multiple roster moves, including reinstating pitchers Ronel Blanco and Bennett Sousa, and optioning Reyno Delgado and Brian King to AAA. SEC Media Days Day 2 from Tampa, Florida begins today as RP3 Meche and the Lowdown with D-Lo will broadcast live from there. Today's teams that will be available at the podium and on the floor are head coaches and players from Georgia, Auburn, Vanderbilt, and South Carolina. Other big news out of college football is that Michigan Wolverines announced yesterday morning that athletic director Ward Manuel will step down at the end of the calendar year. Manuel was the program's AD since 2016 after playing his collegiate career at defensive tackle at Ann Arbor. And the Green Bay Packers extended defensive lineman Devontae Wyatt to a 3-year, $57 million contract extension that features a $20 million signing bonus. I'm James Meche, and this has been your 2-minute drill on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana Sports Station, your home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. Dynamic duos are nothing new to Louisiana sports fans. Breeze and Colston, Burrow and Chase. And here in Acadiana, we have our very own dynamic duo.
You're beautiful.
It's the big, bald, bearded, and beautiful one, Raymond Parch III.
I'm sexy and I know it.
And the man with the best head of hair in sports talk radio in Louisiana and Mississippi, James Meche. Here is RP3 and Meche on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Hour number 2 has arrived here at SEC Media Days special edition live from Tampa of RP3 and Meche. I'm the big, bald, beautiful one, Raymond Parch III, better known as RP3. And we are broadcasting live inside the Marriott in downtown Tampa, right on the Water Street location to be more specific, for day 2 of our SEC Media Days coverage. If, in case you were wondering, out there listening, or maybe you're watching us on the YouTube stream on ESPN Southwest Louisiana, all the people surrounding by our table with cameras and everything are not here to look at me, just to be clear. It would be the radio station next to us that's talking to Kirby Smart. So just wanted to clear that up. Any confusion, James Meche, I wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way. I wanted to be clear. I didn't want to be misrepresenting my importance. I hope that's okay.
See, and I wasn't worried about it for you. If anything, I thought it was going to be for our guy BP, for the new kid on the block. But then again, that's my mistake.
In case if you were wondering, yeah, there we go. There we go. Here it is. It's when you're at SEC Media Days, BP, you have to drink a Dr. Pepper. You see what I'm saying? There we go. There we go.
It feels
Holding
like
it up to him, hoping he was going to take a photo. He didn't pick up on that though. He's young. He's on. We're going to teach him.
He didn't get the cue. I do find it interesting. It feels like Dr. Pepper only seems to be available in the South, because when we were in Minneapolis, could not find a Dr. Pepper to save anyone's lives.
Well, it originated in Waco, Texas, and it's very much a Southern soda staple, Dr. Pepper. Now it's gone national, but yes, you can't go to any SEC event, SEC championships, bowl games that have SEC ties, SEC Media Days. There's Dr. Pepper everywhere, which I don't complain. Hopefully my wife's not listening, because she'd be fussing at me. I need to be drinking more water, she would say. All right, look, hour number 1 was very, very good. Recapped day 1 of SEC Media Days. We got to some of those Greg Sankey clips. There's another clip that I want to share with you. But let's go ahead and go in that direction, because there was also some news that came out that we did not get a chance to get to in hour number 1, and that's a couple of rule changes here for the SEC. 2 significant ones that Greg Sankey announced. One, players ejected for targeting, which has been a hotly debated topic in the last couple of years. I go all the way back to who was it that got knocked out for LSU against Alabama for targeting? He would go on to play for the Tampa Bay Bucks, help them win the Super Bowl. The linebacker, Devin White.
White.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. BP with the assist. Yes. But we've had that over and over again, right? Where a player is ejected for targeting, and then not only are they missing the remainder of that game, but the punishment has been you have to miss the first half of the next game, which could, be huge for you, especially if you're losing a star player like LSU did with Devin White that year. Well, guess what? Players ejected for targeting in the second half will no longer be suspended for the first half of their next game. They're ejected for the game that they're currently playing in, but they will not miss additional time after that. So that's a step in the right direction. So credit the SEC for taking that on and making that change. Also, here's another one that you're going to love, James, and our listeners are going to love. In addition to targeting, and you will no longer have to miss the first half of your next game if you get called for targeting. Offensive pass interference will now result in a 10-yard penalty. 10-yard penalty. So, because that's something now. It's great that, offensive pass interference is going to result in a 10-yard penalty. Are they actually going to call it? That would be my next question. Is something that they don't do a very good job of.
Don't expect too many home teams to get that call.
No, be none of that. There'll be none of that. And we didn't have a chance to get to it in hour number 1 before we wrapped up our conversation with Terry Ford, our friend from Columbia, South Carolina, talking all things South Carolina Gamecocks. But I want to play one more clip here. Something that Greg Sankey said at the podium on Monday. Kirby Smart echoed the sentiment this morning, which tells me that this is coming, and it's something that I've been telling y'all about, that I've been saying that they're trying to do, that they're going to try to make happen for at least now 3 to 4 years. I've been on the radio telling you this is what they want to do, this is where they're going to be heading, and this is what Greg Sankey had to say about the potential for the SEC to leave the NCAA, particularly in football.
So I'll take that as like real or not real. So they're real. People have talked about that. They've opined about the frustrations that bring them to the point of saying we should look at something significantly different. I do not believe that is a leverage point. I think that's just honest communication. I would prefer that stay in a meeting room or on a video conference and not be part of the D1 ticker the next morning, but I don't control all of that. Eddie, what I think is important is those comments represent a high level of frustration with the circumstance in which we find ourselves.
So that tells me he's being transparent there, and he's doing it for a reason. He's letting you know, I would prefer these conversations not show up on the ticker on the next day, but these are conversations that are being had, and it's just not a threat. Kirby Smart says he's been on board for this for a couple years. If the power brokers here in the SEC say, let's do this because the money is there, because once again, college athletics, and particularly college football, is $1 billion industry now, boys and girls. If the SEC is going to lead the charge and they're going to link up with the Big Ten and they're going to say, you know what? We don't even need the NCAA. We can simply leave them and go have our own football that won't be sanctioned by the NCAA. We will control it ourselves. We will control the amount of money that is dealt with this. The thing is that they want to have all the power here. And if the television contracts are going to give them that power, why do they need the NCAA? Once again, I've said this for years. Years and years. Look at your college football playoff trophy. Before then, look at the BCS trophy. Okay? Do you see the NCAA logo prominently on those?
No.
You don't. You know why? Because they've wanted to be separate for that long. Now the money is there for them to be able to do just that. This is coming sooner than later. When you hear Greg Sankey, James Meche talk about it at the podium to kick off SEC Media Days, and then your most tenured national championship winning head coach go on the stage the day after and echo that sentiment, that tells you it's coming, and it's going to be coming a lot sooner than you think.
And clearly we don't have a clear date on when that would be the case. However, Ray, with how fast things move in the NCAA nowadays and how much things move around, if I gave you a quote-unquote betting line of 2.5 years, do you think it would be over or under that many years to see the SEC separate themselves from the NCAA?
I would go over because I think it's 5, because there are some logistics that have to be taken care of, in particular with the current contracts. Okay. Now, if the television entities are willing to foot the bill and say, you know what, we're going to renegotiate and we're okay renegotiating with you if you decide to leave the NCAA, I could see that happening exponentially quicker. But any type of major seismic change, whether it's been realignment or the college football playoff, NIL, right? It's usually slow.
Mhm.
Usually takes a couple years for it to get up and running. 2.5 over under. I think I would take the over there. I think 4 to 5 years though is what I think would happen. I really do, because there's so much money from the television products that they're going to want to be in business with the SEC. And then if the SEC is having, behind the scenes conversations with the Big Ten Conference and the Big 12 and the ACC, and they're like, guys, we can just leave the NCAA altogether. We can create a super league of 60 to 70 teams. We can play our own football. We can run it like the NFL. That's all we need. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
they're going to go where the money's at.
Yeah, and if anything,
Plain and simple.
It does feel like, with how things are moving, I lean a little bit more towards the 3 or 4 years. And it feels like the way everything's lining up that we could see the new decade be the pivotal change in college football. Like once we get to the 30s decade, we'll be like, oh, okay, so now this is where everything moved and pivoted towards. Here's everyone united, but now we start to see the real separation between the big entities and the mid to lower conferences.
I completely agree with that. I think once we get to the 2030s, what we understand of college football, the playoff, how much that has been expanded, conference realignment and leaving the NCAA, all that will be in place by the time we get to the 2030s. I think you're spot on there with that. Also, before we wrap up here and welcome on our next guest after our timeout, we got to get to some breaking news. It's posted up at ESPNSouthwestLouisiana.com. It's not SEC related. Well, it's kind of adjacent,
a little
to SEC
bit
related, and that is Dr. Brian Maggard is leaving the University of Louisiana at Lafayette in his role as the director of athletics for Raging Cajuns. He is going back to where he spent more than 2 decades in an assistant role. That is Missouri. That's right. Dr. Brian Maggard is going and taking a job with the Missouri Tigers. Ross Dellinger was first on this, but we do have a story on this on our website from ESPN SouthwestLouisiana.com. Missouri is hiring Louisiana AD Brian Maggard as its Deputy Athletic Director and Chief Operating Officer. Maggard, of course, has been in charge of Raging Cajun Athletics for 10 years. During that time, he's the one that hired Billy Napier, that led them to the unprecedented success in football, including being nationally ranked. He's also hired Matt Deggs to replace Tony Robichaux, who unexpectedly died. So he's handled a lot of things. And, of course, the big renovation project with Cajun Field becoming Our Lady of Lourdes Stadium. So the man that's been in charge of the athletic department the last 10 years is now leaving to go back to a place where he was at for nearly 2 decades in an assistant role. Dr. Brian Maggard is leaving the Raging Cajuns athletic department. Multiple sources are reporting on that today. So we wanted to make sure to share that with you. We got to take a timeout. When we come back here on RP3 and Meche as we broadcast from Digital Drive, I got to make sure to get that right. Digital Drive. You know, I'm old, so I call things the way I've always called them, Radio Row. But it's Digital Drive. Our next guest, we're going to talk about those Auburn Tigers, and we're going to do so with Mr. Christian Griffin of the Auburn Radio Network. He's going to be joining us live on Digital Drive. That's next.
This is RP3 and Meche, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
It's time to get ready for one of South Louisiana's favorite summer traditions. The 17th annual STM Fishing Rodeo is July 31st to August 1st at Quintana Landing in Sycamore Point. Whether you're chasing the winning catch or just looking to have a great weekend on the water, enjoy great fishing, exciting prizes, delicious food, and have a fun atmosphere, all while supporting STM Catholic High School. If you register by July 24th, you will be guaranteed an official event shirt. Register today at stmcougars.net/fishing.
Make sure to set your alarm and tune in Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock for Sports Shorts here on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Join me, Ronnie Rance, and the Sports Shorts team of Tommy Christsand, Hunter McCann, and the crazy man, Joel Davis, as we break down the sports and teams that you love. The LSU Tigers, New Orleans Saints, and everything in between. Tune in Saturday mornings from 10 to noon for Sports Shorts here on Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Around Acadiana, community means supporting the businesses that make our hometown special. That's why we're proud to spotlight local companies that are certified South Louisiana.
Delta Home Center and Delta Trailer Sales, your one-stop shop for utility and cargo trailers. Heavy-duty dump and gooseneck trailers, portable buildings, cabins, decks, porches, fences, carports, and site-built metal shops. Located at Exit 7 in Carencro or at deltatrailersales.com.
When you support local businesses, you strengthen the communities we call home. Shop local, support local. Certified South Louisiana.
And now time for the Expert Minute, brought to you by Sugarland Exterminating.
Ever wonder why bugs seem to love your home as much as you do? One big reason: moisture. Roaches, termites, and ants are drawn to damp areas. Check under sinks, around windows, and in attics for leaks and excess moisture. A little home maintenance goes a long way in keeping pests out. Got unwanted guests? Call Sugarland Exterminating at 337-367-1414 or visit sugarlandexterminating.com for more information.
Sugarland Exterminating. Pest-free environment we're creating. Spiders, roaches, rats, and mice. Those awful termites are not so nice. Get rid of all your pests right now. Call Sugarland Exterminating.
Termites, they're here. They're invasive. They can destroy your home if left untreated. Sugarland Exterminating has been in business for over 50 years, and they have the experience to effectively treat termites. Call 367-1414 or visit sugarlandexterminating.com.
And that has been your Expert Minute, brought to you by Sugarland Exterminating. terminating.
Hello, Acadiana. Cajun Carts is your #1 full-service dealer for new, used, and custom golf carts. Perfect for on the job site, the neighborhood, or even out on the green. We are the only authorized dealer of American-made E-Z-GO and Club Car here in Acadiana. For all your service, sales, and mechanical repairs, we got you. So don't wait. Roll on over to CajunCarts.com or stop by our Lafayette location by the Jockey Lot and see why we've been Louisiana's golf cart headquarters since 2003. Cajun Carts. Why walk when you can ride?
When it comes to the best boudin cracklins in Acadiana, just follow your nose to Billy's Boudin Cracklins. You know the original stuffed pepper jack boudin balls, award-winning boudin cracklins, but you gotta sink your teeth into their variety of fresh and smoked sausages. Stock up on the wide selection of specialty meats as well. They're available at all 4 locations of Billy's Boudin Cracklins, Opelousas, Scott, Lafayette, or the Crut Springs location now featuring a dine-in area with great burgers and much more cooked to order. Or visit online at billysboudin.com.
Want to get caught up on everything that happened today at the circus that is SEC Media Days in Tampa? Yeah. Not to worry. We've got you covered. Back to more SEC football talk on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station. And powered by Service Chevrolet Cadillac.
And we're back here on Digital Drive for SEC Media Days inside the Marriott on Water Street here in downtown Tampa. Beautiful city. Never been here before. I've been surprised how nice it is, and I always enjoy that. We're going to talk about a team that could be a huge surprise in the SEC this year, and of course, I'm talking about the Auburn Tigers. LSU fans are excited that you get to have Auburn back on the schedule. That game should be played every year. I don't understand why it was put out of the rotation. LSU fans don't love the 11 a.m. kick inside Jordan-Hare, but I digress. We'll get to that a little bit later. But to talk all things Auburn is Christian Griffin from the Auburn Network. He joins us now. Christian, thank you for making the time, bud.
Of course. Yeah, man, having a blast here. It's been a fantastic day and a half, and I'm sure it's spoken for you that if so far the day and a half reciprocates what happens for the remainder of the week, then it's a pretty solid week here in Tampa, Florida.
Yes, it's a nice ramp up because then tomorrow is going to be insane with the lineup that we have. And then, of course, we have LSU and then Texas on Thursday to end it strong. But I want to focus about Auburn, and I want to start off. Hugh Freeze did not forget how to coach football, right? Like,
I mean, there's question marks.
There's question marks, but this is a guy that was an offensive-minded guy under O at Ole Miss, makes a name for himself back at Ole Miss, leads them to some very good seasons. Known as an offensive guy, gets into trouble. We don't need to go into that. Goes to Liberty. I remember him coming to Cajun Field and coaching from a hospital bed in the press box, which was an insane sight to see. But he had great success at Liberty and never worked out at Auburn. Why?
Ooh, the locker room, it starts there. And weirdly enough, there are a lot of speculations that you go back and you look at the locker room, and we hear all about the culture. We hear all about unity, and it feels like it's coach speak. And then you go and you see a locker room that was not built the way that it needed to be built, and the mentality that needed to be there. I think it all starts with the coach's mentality. And we were kind of immune to, honestly, the realization of how Freeze was going about his business because of now we have Golish, and rather than Hugh Freeze telling us we're going to do everything we can to stay in the game through 3 quarters, we're going to go and win it in the 4th quarter. You now have Alex Golish who's in here saying, screw that, we're going to go dominate the 3 quarters to make it to where in the 4th quarter the other team wants to quit. And that is such a big mentality change in the locker room, and it has to start with that mentality. There's a buy-in that has to work its way, and honestly, just being with Golish and seeing his intentionality, and I know we'll get to more of him here in just a few moments, but you get immune to your head coach, and then all of a sudden you see how a different regime comes in and works the way of how they want, and you see that, okay, maybe this was in the dark for way too long. There were some frustrations that we thought were illegitimate that ended up being pretty honest and pretty real.
There's a lot of buzz about him. He's the one guy that I've noticed that a lot of people are wanting to talk about of the new head coaches in the SEC that haven't coached in the SEC before, right, to be more specific. And look, he comes from having success there at South Florida. And what I think is interesting is the way he's doing this. He's following the Kurt Cinetti model of I'm bringing players, multiple players, I'm bringing coaches, staffers with me to the new job to try to establish everything. And, he's bringing in Byron Brown, a very talented quarterback, but it's just not him, right? Like, he's bringing in Byron Brown. He's bringing in his center as well from South Florida, and he's bringing in not one, not two, but three wide receivers. Like, this is done with intention of,
Yeah.
I want the offense to be able to hit the ground running immediately from jump against Baylor in the Chick-fil-A Classic opener.
Yes, and Cole Best, the Auburn center that transferred with Alex Golish, was a little bit surprised when we saw the three names that were making their way to SEC Media Days that Cole was not one of those, just because representing that offensive line unit is so important, especially with Auburn and how that's been very, very lackluster, especially in the passing game over the last handful of years. The Auburn media, that has been obviously the biggest talking point. But yes, seeing the mentality, seeing how they work their way from Tampa. I'm sure that's the biggest reason right now, or one of the biggest reasons, is because of location, of why he's being followed so much by the Tampa media as well. He's gotten a couple of the gotcha questions, didn't really give into them, and so credit for him on that. But we talked all about it, and there's one thing to have a transfer portal left tackle. There's one thing to have a transfer portal slot receiver, a transfer portal quarterback, or whatever the case may be. Auburn's in a very unique spot where it feels like it's almost a transfer portal offense. You're not having a bunch of guys having to relearn any sort of system. It's a little bit more of a plug and place rather than, okay, this is what we think the offense is like. Let's go try and get guys that we hope can establish and hope can get fitted in that sort of offense.
You know, I used to cover high school football for a long time. It reminds me of the coaches that are able to implement their scheme to the junior high kids, and that way when they come up, they already know what to do. So it feels like that is going to make the transition very, very, very smooth. One of the key things I also thought that impressed me about Coach Golish is the fact that he retained DJ Durkin.
Yes.
Now, this is a guy, a very good defensive coordinator. How important, how critical? I would argue retaining him was just as important as bringing in Byron Brown. Like, I think it's 1A, 1B on the importance scale because you're keeping the guy that knows defense and knows a lot of the players that you inherited from this team.
Yeah, I mean, you see the quotes from Xavier Atkins, who transferred from LSU a couple of years ago and is now with the Auburn Tigers, and he is the reason that he is at Auburn. DJ Durkin is the reason that Xavier Atkins is at Auburn. You have so many of those guys nowadays where, yes, the logo still means so much, but even more so now in today's day and age, it's let me go find a guy that implements my kind of system. DJ Durkin is that kind of mold and that kind of defense or defensive coordinator, and when he had to wear the two hats as the head coach for Auburn for 2 games against Vanderbilt, I guess Mercer as well, but then Alabama, you saw the defense take a big step back. And I think that a lot of that is because he had to wear the offensive play, not the play caller, but the offensive hat as well. Of
the extra
that
responsibilities wear you down.
Yes.
Because there's only so much of you to go around.
Yes. And so there are so many different ways that you can go about that sort of process. And I'm sure there were a lot of frustrations for DJ Durkin not being named the head coach or an interim head coach at the very worst at the end of the season. But the ability for Alex Golish to come in and have those conversations, it was the very first question. Believe it or not, it's a very easy one to add. He was asked at the introductory press conference just because that was the biggest question mark. Who are you going to keep? Is it going to be DJ Durkin? And he said, we're still working through some things. We need to find some more answers. 2 days later, he came out and said, DJ Durkin is going to be the defensive coordinator. And you want to talk about an immediate win over a fan base before you even coach a game inside of Jordan-Hare Stadium, keeping a guy that knows Auburn, keeping a guy that loves Auburn, and has had so much success on that side of the football. You don't necessarily see it overall in the numbers because DJ Durkin has much more of a bend, don't break mentality. It's, yes, we don't want to let you get into the 20s, but we'll let you not go over the top, but we will let you methodically move down the field if that's how you so choose. We're gonna hold you to field goals. We're gonna try and turn the ball over, and having somebody like that implemented into your system is a big time win. And when you go and you look at the numbers and you see that Auburn's playing defense for 39 minutes just about every single game, obviously some of those numbers are going to look more imploded.
We're talking with Christian Griffin of the Auburn Network. He joins us here on Digital Drive for our special SEC Media Days coverage powered by, of course, Service Chevrolet Cadillac. I want to talk about that defense because they did go load up on portal guys to come in. But I feel like, yeah, there may be a lot of new pieces on that side of the football, but Durkin's been directly part of this process to find the right guys that are going to run his defense. Who are some of the names that you're looking forward to that could step up and be true impact players for them on that side of the football.
Yeah, Deshaun Womack is obviously the first one. If looking at transfers that come to mind, I know there's a little bit of some legal status that has to go on that's for him to be completely cleared and for him to do whatever needs to happen in terms of actual game time. But he is obviously somebody that is very, very critical to what this pass rush is going to look like. Losing a guy like Keldrick Falk, that's obviously a big-time circle in every single offensive game plan. It's almost like the Mike linebacker, right? It's every time you break, you're going to find that guy right there. Obviously, Xavier Atkins is one of those guys. Elijah Melendez is one of those guys. But really, really interested to see what the cornerback room as a whole is going to look like, because he brought in a lot of youth. And you've had a lot over the last handful of years, a lot of guys that had been almost force-fed snaps as freshmen and sophomores because we didn't have the depth. You didn't have the overall talent. And again, frankly, you were playing 39, 41 minutes of defense a game. You're going to have to tap your head every now and then and go get a breather. So many of these younger guys that now are playing like juniors if they're sophomores, playing like sophomores if they're freshmen. You go and you get the transfer portal freshman. You go get the transfer portal sophomore. It's a very young but very, very talented group. And when you have DJ Durkin, who is comfortable putting guys on a Revis Island, if you will, it's very physical. It's very, very in your face. You're going to press a whole lot, which makes it to where quarterbacks that have fantastic passing games, they lick their chops as well. And so it's almost a mano-a-mano chess match. But I think DJ Durkin trusts his guys, and he goes and gets the guys, as you mentioned, that fit that system really well.
We'll get you out of here with this, Christian. Obviously, first year at the helm, you're bringing in the transfers, but the expectations at Auburn are always crazy. And we can have a separate conversation, a separate day about how, unrealistic expectations are for several SEC programs. But what should the expectation be in year one? Are we looking like 7 wins, get to a bowl game, get a chance to maybe to get to 8 wins? Is that a realistic expectation, or is it actually higher than that?
Not giving you the coach speak that Alex Golish gives of, we're not going to look at goals. We're going to look at building an identity. If you're looking at wins and losses, because regardless of everything that goes on here, that's how you're judged at the end of the day, right? How many wins you can put in that column. Auburn's win total sits at 6.5 right now. And at the end of the day right now, if you told me that Auburn could get 7 and I wasn't allowed to ask a secondary question, I wasn't allowed to ask the final score in Athens, in Knoxville, or Tuscaloosa, but you said, all right, Christian, I'll give you 7 wins right now, I would walk out and I wouldn't ask a secondary question. I would give you the Coach Orgeron of, which door do you want me to walk out of? I'll pick up my stuff right now. I will not ask a secondary question. Which door would you like me to leave? That would come very, very easy. Yet that being said, funny enough, if Vegas lines were not public, if you did not know, I would actually be very surprised if the public media did not see Auburn at 7.5. Move that line an entire game to where 7-5 by no means am I going to say would be underwhelming or an understatement, because Auburn hasn't won 7 games since I was a teenager. But 7 wins would at least give you that foundational piece where you're no longer having to sell hope to these recruits. You can sell that proof of concept. That being said, by no means am I going to be the one, especially on here, to sit there and go, man, 9 wins, 10 wins is what you need. But I think if you get 7, you meet the expectations. If you get to 8, I think that's where you're really sitting there looking at, okay, year 2 can be that legitimate step up.
And if it's 7, but some of those wins come in the tail end of the schedule and you're building momentum, that also plays a big role. And I agree with you. Like, the over-under on wins for LSU is 8.5, and I think it should be 9.5.
Yeah.
More so. But hey, look, those guys in the desert, they have their formulas.
No way that they want people to pick the over, right?
Oh, never.
No way whatsoever.
Never. Oh man, Christian, it's great for you. Thank you for making the time.
Yes, sir.
Brother.
Of course.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your time here in Tampa.
Yes, sir. Same thing here. We'll talk to you Tiger on Tiger Bowl, right?
That's right, brother.
Yes,
That's
sir.
right. That's right. 11 o'clock kick in Jordan-Hare. I don't know what they were thinking with that. Come on, that should be a night game in Jordan-Hare.
It definitely should, but I mean, worst case scenario, I mean, if we'll need to take our little win right there, well, we can take it.
I love it. I love it. Appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir. You as well.
We got to take a time out. When we come back, we're going to welcome on our next guest, Brandon Marcello of CBS Sports will join us talking all things SEC. That's next.
This is RP3 and Meche, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Delta Media Corps is helping your kids head back to school in style, powered by Cosmetology Training Center. This school year, we want to ease the pain on the pocketbook for parents by giving free haircuts this Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is for kids ages 5 to 12 only. A parent or guardian must be present and sign a waiver for the free haircut. So join us at Cosmetology Training Center at 5520 Johnson Street tomorrow morning for free back-to-school haircuts for your kiddos.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we got to go fast now.
The Houston Astros picked up an 8-5 Game 1 win over the Miami Marlins as Yordan Alvarez smashed 2 home runs to end the team's 4-game losing streak. The win improved Houston's record to 48-54, putting them 3.5 games behind the division-leading Seattle Mariners. Game 2 is tonight, with first pitch from Dyken Park scheduled for 7:10. You can listen to the action on News Talk at 98.5. Along with that, the Stros made multiple roster moves, including reinstating pitchers Ronel Blanco and Bennett Sousa, and optioning Reyno Delgado and Brian King to AAA. SEC Media Days Day 2 from Tampa, Florida begins today as RP3 Meche and the Lowdown with D-Lo will broadcast live from there. Today's teams that will be available at the podium and on the floor are head coaches and players from Georgia, Auburn, Vanderbilt, and South Carolina. Other big news out of college football is that Michigan Wolverines announced yesterday morning that athletic director Ward Manuel will step down at the end of the calendar year. Manuel was the program's AD since 2016 after playing his collegiate career at defensive tackle at Ann Arbor. And the Green Bay Packers extended defensive lineman Devontae Wyatt to a 3-year, $57 million contract extension that features a $20 million signing bonus. I'm James Meche, and this has been your 2-minute drill on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana Sports Station, your home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. Do you need more of the fellas here on Southwest Louisiana's sports station? Of course you do. So go make sure and subscribe to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles YouTube channel at ESPN_SWLA. Don't forget to turn that bell on so you get notifications for new episodes of Four Tire Change Podcast, where Dawson Iserlo talks all things NASCAR, or Cleats and Sneaks with James Meche. Get yourself more of Southwest Louisiana's sports station at ESPN_SWLA on YouTube.
And now time for the Expert Minute, brought to you by Sugarland Exterminating.
Ever wonder why bugs seem to love your home as much as you do? One big reason: moisture. Roaches, termites, and ants are drawn to damp areas. Check under sinks, around windows, and in attics for leaks and excess moisture. A little home maintenance goes a long way in keeping pests out. Got unwanted guests? Call Sugarland Exterminating at 337-367-1414 or visit sugarlandexterminating.com for more information.
Sugarland Exterminating. Pest-free environment we're creating. Spiders, roaches, rats, and mice. Those awful termites are not so nice. Get rid of all your pests right now. Call Sugarland Exterminating.
Termites, they're here. They're invasive. They can destroy your home if left untreated. Sugarland Exterminating has been in business for over 50 years, and they have the experience to effectively treat termites. Call 367-1414 or visit sugarlandexterminating.com.
And that has been your Expert Minute, brought to you by Sugarland Exterminating.
Misfits Dine and Drink, a destination restaurant in Broussard, is constantly evolving. Dine in for great food and a great atmosphere. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or brunch on Saturday or Sunday, stop in to enjoy a handmade gourmet pizza or one of their delicious pastas. Take a sip of their new and seasonal craft cocktails and mocktails. And don't forget dessert. Try the birthday cake bread pudding. Whether it's new menu items or old favorites, come to Misfits for a great food experience. It's classic Italian with a modern twist. Misfits Dine and Drink, 200 Heritage Parkway off Highway 90 in Broussard.
Oh, look who's here.
Everybody Loves Raymond is on MeTV.
Who told you that?
Raymond!
America's #1 classic TV network.
Nothing even comes close.
Enjoy 2 back-to-back episodes every weeknight.
We're doing it twice.
Watch Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, it's all about you, Raymond.
Weeknights starting at 8 on MeTV.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen. so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices. To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
It's the conference where everything just means more, including talking season. Everybody! Back to more SEC Media Days from Tampa coverage on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station, and powered by Service Chevrolet Cadillac.
And we're joined now here on Digital Drive inside the Marriott on Water Street in downtown Tampa for SEC Media Days with a man who's probably forgotten more college football than I have in my big old brain. Brandon
That's not a good thing if you forget it. That means I have a bad memory.
Brandon Marcello from CBS Sports is joining us here. Bud, thank you for making the time. How are you enjoying yourself?
I'm very much enjoying myself and just very busy. But the reason I don't know if I love the event itself. I just love what it means, and that means football's right here, and I don't have to talk about Congress anymore.
Oh man, it's just wearing us out. It's just all the politics, all the stuff is just wearing me out, man. It's just wearing me out. I just want to enjoy football. So, let's talk about the conference in itself because we have 6 new head coaches in the conference. Okay, now one of them left one team to go to the other, which became a big storyline in the state of Louisiana. But Arkansas with Ryan Silverfield, who came from Memphis. Of course, Auburn hired Alex Golish from USF. Florida hired John Summerall from Tulane. Kentucky hires Will Stein, the Oregon offensive coordinator. LSU, of course, gets Lane Kiffin, and then Ole Miss simply promotes Pete Golding to the head coach. Which one of the new guys in the new locations is the one that you're most fascinated about if they can rise to the occasion?
Well, I think the one that has the toughest job is Ryan Silverfield, and if somehow he gets them to a bowl game, they should build a statue. The roster's depleted. They have the toughest schedule in the country, according to the ESPN FBI, and I don't even know if you have to look at that to see it. But the one I'm actually most fascinated by and what he could do there, that program, and not necessarily this first year, but beyond, is John Summerall at Florida. The guy just wins everywhere he goes. He averages 10 wins a season. He's been to conference championship games practically every year as a head coach, and it's only been 4 or 5 years, but the guy just wins no matter what situation he inherits. He's a heck of a recruiter, builds good staffs, and he's one of the men in this industry where I don't know how they squeeze so much out of every single hour of the day. I don't know how he does it, and he's such a quick thinker that he can handle like 4 tasks at once. I've talked to him on the phone, and it's amazing, like the other things he's doing while talking to me and speaking coherently. So I think if everybody gets behind him at Florida and doesn't like react in real time this first season going, oh man, we only won 7 games. It's the worst thing ever. They're going to be pretty good in the future. The coach that's set up for success immediately this year is obviously Lane.
Yep.
And they got a playoff roster. Will it all come together? Schedule's a little bit tough, but not the toughest in the SEC. Maybe not even the top half of the SEC when you actually look at it. But I think the problem for them is that early in the year, you got to go to Oxford.
In week 3.
In week 3. And I don't know if LSU's offense is going to be clicking the way in week 3 is. It's probably going to be clicking by week 11, week 12.
And then you have to follow that up by coming back home and taking on A&M.
A&M, yeah. So you could be out of the, I want to say out of the playoff race, but mathematically, but maybe just like mentally out of the playoff race if you lose those 2 games.
What do you make of Ole Miss's decision to go with Pete Golding? I think I came away impressed with how he handled things during all the chaos that was that transition. I think they played really well for him. Now, you could also argue, well, you had Charlie Rice Jr. there that was running the offense, and Pete didn't have to worry about that. But I thought Pete did a good job, and I think there's this narrative that's being formed that, well, Ole Miss is going to fall off the face of the planet because Pete Golding's not good enough to be a head coach, and he's not Lane, and just watch what's going to happen. I don't quite buy that. Not in year 1, not with Chambliss and Lacey back.
No, they don't fall off the face of the earth this year. We'll see in the future, but that thing's built this season to be a playoff contender. I mean, getting Trinidad back after winning that court case, and then Juan Lacey, in my opinion, when he got injured just for a little bit, was hobbled against Miami in the Fiesta Bowl, the semifinal. If he wasn't hobbled for a few of those series, I think they end up beating Miami.
Yeah.
And they're in the national championship game. So, in fact, I've been saying this all week. This is just me talking off the top of my head. I think Ole Miss is going to go in this season and just look like such a well-oiled machine offensively that people are going to be like, oh, man, why aren't we considering Ole Miss as an SEC championship contender? And the reason for that is because their schedule. But I think that at the beginning of the season, Ole Miss is going to look so good. But then by the end of the year, LSU is going to match them and maybe surpass them. To me, that last playoff spot potentially in the SEC is going to go to either Ole Miss or LSU. And I could see LSU getting in even after losing to Ole Miss on the road.
It's going to be that's going to be fascinating to see. Texas A&M, they have a good coach, good defensive-minded coach, tough-nosed coach, and Coach Elko. They got their quarterback coming back. They got wide receivers coming back. They got DBs coming back. The thing that stands out to me when I look at Texas A&M, and they're coming off a college football playoff appearance, is they don't have anyone coming back across the line of scrimmage on offense or defense. And in the SEC, you got to be good to really good up front. That's my huge question mark about the Aggies.
People ask me, why don't you consider A&M a playoff team? And it's exactly that. And that's the big reason. But also, they just kind of melt down late in the year. And Mike Elko, I remember last year they beat Mizzou. They're on that big winning streak, obviously. They started 11-0. But I asked him to go, is the past the past? Is it in the past? Losing games late, meltdowns. And he got kind of angry about it because he got sick and tired of answering that question. He's like, that's not us and whatever. And then guess what happens? They end the season losing their last 2 games. I mean, they were just a win away from getting into the SEC championship game.
Correct.
And they lose that opportunity and do it against their rival in a double-digit loss. And then they lose in the playoff at home where their offense couldn't do anything against Miami. And Miami, of course, was hot at the time and went to the national championship game. But, I just don't see it for A&M this year.
Texas is loaded. The light bulb went off for Arch in the second half of the season, right? You could just see he elevated his game, the way he processed things, the way he read coverages. The light bulb went off. They are stacked. They are loaded. We have questions about the pass catchers a little bit, but you bring in Coleman to try to remedy that. They're loaded, and they are the clear-cut favorites here at Media Days, and everyone's talking about. But as someone who pays attention to teams, is there a flaw with Texas that gives you pause that could be their Achilles heel?
This is going to sound weird, but I wonder how the players on defense feel about Sark firing their coordinator and then just bringing Will Muschamp in to take over. And Muschamp being a guy who hasn't really called plays in a couple of years.
It's been a minute.
And hey, listen, and again, I'm really reaching on this one, but they're stacked. They're loaded. They should make the playoff. Anything less than making the playoff and winning at least one game in the playoff is a disappointing season for Texas this year. They're in that Ohio State category of just the fans being so livid if they don't get in the playoff and win in the playoff. That's the point where Texas has reached. Listen, they're so talented. Their portal haul was almost perfect. Like every little thing they needed, every hole they needed to fill, they filled. They did so with a blue chip type player. You go get Cam Coleman, the 5-star receiver out of Auburn. You steal from Alabama a running back from NC State, Hollywood Smothers, who was committed to Alabama out of the portal. And then Texas says, "No, why don't you come over here?" And Alabama lost them. And I think that's a sign of the times that Alabama's just lost it. And Texas, yes, I can understand why people pick them to win the SEC, but they're not my pick. I'm going with Georgia.
Georgia, it's going to be, it's going to be hard. It's always hard to go against just Georgia. What makes you think that Georgia's going to be able to figure it out offensively?
Big question. Young at receiver, but Gunnar Stockton, I think, is smart enough, veteran enough to figure it out. Also, he can run the ball, take over a game if he needs to, and they can run the ball as well. But running back, I think they'll be just fine. The defense is going to be, I think, better. The thing that Georgia, they've been trending the last 2 years toward being a program that finally gets back to sacking the quarterback. At one point last season, I think going into actually the Alabama game and after the Alabama game, their average sack total per game was the lowest ever under Kirby Smart, and it ended that way as well. But you can see the growth and them getting a little bit better at rushing the passer, and getting pressure. And if they get back to that kind of elite level with that, like they were a few years back, 4 years, 5 years ago, Georgia's going to end up winning maybe a national championship before Texas.
I watched Oklahoma up close last year. Even traveled to Norman, was my first time covering the LSU game there, and it was a lot nicer than I thought. And I think Venables has done a nice job. I know there was a lot of chatter about him, but I think they finally started to figure out he's got a quarterback who I met at the Manning Passing Academy a year ago that's built like a linebacker, tough as nails. You could see the difference when he got hurt, that they weren't the same offensively.
Yep.
Man, it feels like to me that the Sooners could be your dark horse team in the SEC this year.
Yeah, I agree, and I think they're a playoff team. They're going to be better than they were a year ago. Their defense might take like a half step back this season, but that's still going to be a great to elite defense. Offensively, I think they're going to be potentially worlds better, because obviously you have a healthy quarterback. More importantly, that offensive line was terrible last year. They couldn't run the football at all. And if they can just get any semblance of some protection and also be able to run the ball, they're going to be a much better offense. You mentioned John Mateer. And consider this, early in the year, Mateer, I believe, he had rushed for about 240 yards in the first 4 games this season, including a win against Michigan. In the last 8 games, and as he's battling injury and everything, he only rushed for about 190-something yards in those last 8 games. The big difference in what he felt comfortable running, and for that matter, running himself, because he was probably scared of re-injuring himself or re-aggravating and hurting his hand even further. But now that he's free to run the offense and he's healthy, and it has another year under his belt there, and they got a better offensive line, I think Oklahoma is set to take that next step offensively, and to that point, remain a playoff team and maybe end up winning a game or two.
Brandon, I want to get you out here with this. I've been talking about this for a couple of years on my radio show, that we're trending towards the SEC wanting just to disassociate itself with the NCAA. I think the Big Ten may be on board for that as well. Create this super league that's like NFL 2.0 without having to be hampered by the NCAA. I was a little surprised that Sankey was so forthcoming in his comments about that topic on the stage, and then Kirby Smart echoed that sentiment this morning. As someone who covers the sport for a living, this is how you make your bread and your butter. Do you think this is actually going to happen?
I think there's a misunderstanding here about what a breakaway from the NCAA means. Everybody sees that, and as you mentioned, they go, well, you're going to form a super league. What will end up happening is if they break away, it's mostly just going to do with governance. They're going to still want to be a part of the NCAA men's basketball tournament in March.
Correct.
They're still going to want to have some ties to the NCAA. I think what the SEC and Big Ten are really looking at is the potential to be able to self-govern themselves within their own house settlement terms, and then also some other rule changes they've got to make over the next few months to kind of keep up with the times, especially if legislation in Washington, D.C. ends up failing in this Protect College Sports Act before the midterm elections in November. So I think a breakaway doesn't, people think of that and they just go, oh, it's more conference realignment and expansion. It's not that. It's a different letterhead, so to speak, for the compliance folks. It's about trying to find a way to put rules together that are uniform and that makes sense for your conference. And it might be different from the Big Ten. It might be different from Big 12 and everything. But in the end, I don't see the SEC breaking away and stop playing Big 12 teams or Big 10 teams and forming a league, a whole new league. That's not the intent of these conversations that are being had amongst ADs and presidents right now.
It's just no longer being hindered by the NCAA when it comes to football.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
pretty much, yeah. They still, listen, all the SEC schools, for that matter, every school, still wants the NCAA to run their championships. In fact, we might not be in this weird playoff discussion right now if the NCAA ran football in their championship event. I'll be quite honest with you.
That's a good point.
And for all the flack the NCAA gets, which, by the way, the NCAA is built and run by the presidents, and so they're blaming themselves really.
Okay, which is perfect. But that's college athletics.
Everything's so silly.
It is, brother. Brandon,
Yeah,
appreciate you making the time, man. It was great to meet you and great to have you on the show. We got to take a time out. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's show. That's next.
This is RP3 and Mesh live on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
How many small sliders can you eat? Well, you can find out by taking part in the Lafayette Small Sliders Eating Contest that will be held at the Lafayette Anniversary Bash this Saturday at 4611 Ambassador Caffrey Parkway during the location's Anniversary Bash, which also features bounce houses, games for the kids, live music, and more. There will be, of course, the eating contest. So come out to Small Sliders Anniversary Bash this Saturday.
ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Row coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. Just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3-gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler or even single-serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then contact us tab or 337-519-3563.
August 15th is the date for the 12th annual Fête du Teche boat procession down the Bayou Teche. The day begins with Mass en Francais with Bishop Desitel at 8 a.m. at St. Leo's Church in Leonville. The boats then depart for a Eucharistic boat procession ending in St. Martinville. Register your boat today or find out more information at fêtedudetech.org or by liking their Facebook page. Don't miss the 12th annual Fête du Teche, Saturday, August 15th.
Every weeknight, MeTV has your laugh therapy.
To chase away the blues or the olive drabs.
With 2 hours of MASH at 5.
This guy's ankle has tickled my funny bone.
Followed by the Andy Griffith Show at 7.
Doggone it, Otis. You're supposed to be hugging me when I'm arresting you.
But he likes you, Bart.
Weeknights on MeTV.
Watch Meet TV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices. To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
Want to get caught up on everything that happened today at the circus that is SEC Media Days in Tampa? Yeah. Not to worry. We've got you covered. Back to more SEC football talk on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station. And powered by Service Chevrolet Cadillac.
Oh, speaking of Service Chevrolet Cadillac, right now you can get yourself a 2026 Silverado 1500, 12,000 or 13,000 with trade assistance. You can also get yourself an all-new 2026 Equinox or Traverse, $5,000 off the MSRP. Or you can get yourself a 2026 Trax, 2,500 or 3,000 off with GMF down payment. And look, even if you're not looking for a new car, remember that Service Chevrolet Cadillac, they buy vehicles and will give you top dollar. So go see our friends over at Service Chevrolet Cadillac. They are the proud sponsors of our SEC Media Days coverage all week, not only for RP3 and Meche, but for the Lowdown with D-Low. Want to take a moment to thank our guest, Dari Noka of the SEC Network and ESPN. I want to thank Terry Ford of WNXT Radio in Columbia, South Carolina, and Christian Griffin of the Auburn Network, and of course, Brandon Marcello of CBS Sports. Great day here on Digital Drive. Mr. Meche, great job by you, my friend. Not to worry, Dawson Angelo is here, and he's ready to put on a tremendous 2 hours of radio for you. I just wanted to let you know that.
I appreciate that.
That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back on tomorrow, 11 to 1, broadcasting live from Digital Drive here inside the Marriott on Water Street in downtown Tampa for SEC Media Days. Up next, the Lowdown with D'Lo.
The heart of Acadiana is its local businesses, the people, families, and companies that help our communities thrive. Here's a message from a proud certified South Louisiana business.
Candyland Cottage is the place to satisfy all your cravings. Find delicious ice creams, fresh fudges, truffles, hot dogs, sausage po' boys, Frito pies, and homemade shakes. Visit us in Scott and Rain for a